Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2023. This is Remy from EthStaker, and I'm joined with a bunch of our members and some of our contributors on EthStaker. We wanted to do this quick video on recapping all the important events that happened in 2022 with whatever happened related to staking. And there's the main thing that happened in 2022 was the merge, but there's a few other interesting things that we will recap today. We invited a few contributors too. I believe that was quite late, but hopefully, hopefully some will join later on today. So
This
let's
is
get
a surprise call.
yeah.
Give everybody 10 minutes notice.
I'll pass it on to Nick to recap what happened in 2022.
Hey everyone, stakers, potential stakers. So we're gonna go through from Remy wrote up this really cool recap from January to December of last year. Remy, do you have that up? Can we look at it as we go through?
Um, sh- sure. Let me see if I can show it up.
Okay. We're starting in January. The first thing you wrote down is I think characterizes a lot of the year, which is the fact that Michael Sproul posted an analysis that Prism was the supermajority client, and which kickstarted a whole lot of talk about client diversity. And I'm surprised how well the community responded to that. It really goes to show how engaged all the people in this community currently are. I wonder how long that's going to be true, as people set up their nodes and just set it and forget it. Um, the next thing that we have is after the recent Kintsugi merge testnet launch, a few issues are found and fixed in various clients, as with all testing. The Key Manager API bears fruit with the first front end to manage your keys that works across Consensus Client built by Joachim Vergis. That front end will eventually end up in DAppNode. Remy, can you explain what the Key Manager API is?
So this Key Manager API was a new idea from DAppLion. Initially, he wanted to make it easier to manage all your keys across client, and all of these different clients, like all the consensus clients, have different ways of importing keys, deleting keys, adding keys, and whatnot. So this API was like a way to make it uniform across all the clients and build tools on top of it. So the idea was that eventually you could build UI and nice front ends to make it very easy for people to use all of this.
Nice. Um, cool. January of last year is when ETH2 naming was killed. So I think that the only person who can legally use that term anymore is Ben Edgington. Um, uh,
I think he was
go
the one
through.
who wanted to keep the name.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard some people on Twitter call him out and say "Oh, that's not the terminology anymore," and he's been like, "I don't care." All right. Moving on to February. That's when we started, or when staking community in general started pushing for people to run their own execution clients because it became clear that after the merge, people would need their own execution clients. Some more testnet stuff, Kintsugi and Kiln. EthStaker was gifted 2 Ethereum validators by the Ethereum Foundation, and Superfizz launched his client diversity initiative, which there are so many links for that thing. Actually, so we're going to post this recap on the subreddit after this call because this is a really comprehensive subreddit and there's some cool links in here. I had trouble choosing which link to use for Superfizz's beginning of the client diversity initiative. I ended up choosing a video where he's very sweaty and just having finished a run. So I hope he likes that. Going to March, we had 10 million ETH staked in March. Quite a milestone, especially because do you remember what the threshold was for getting the Beacon chain launched in December of 2020?
570 something ether. Thousand,
Yeah.
obviously.
Um, I remember people like being worried that we weren't going to get to that 10 million beginning of this year, March of this year. Um, Superfizz in March of this year posted a post that said 5 indicators that the merge will happen in June of 2022. He was almost right. He was close. Um, we have one indicator that it's not, which is it happened in September 2022. Participation rate drops with a large deposit influx. Client diversity initiative. Oh, we saw success within just a couple of months. Within 3 months, Prism had dropped below a supermajority, below 67%. And that is largely attributed to layer zero. EthStaker, the EthStaker community is a large part of the layer zero, and I think that is why EthStakers here in general is to promote the health of the beacon chain, and this was a resounding success in championing that initiative and then watching that majority drop within the community.
The participation rate drop was like an issue that people were not expecting. Like we were not expecting the beacon chain to drop that much in terms of participation rate, but like it was an issue with like a large deposit influx, and the Teku team managed to fix that very quickly.
Nice.
But like I'm still like very surprised that like how reliable the beacon chain was like throughout the year, like the low amount of like main issue that we've been having.
Yeah. April, the staking gathering happened at DevConnect. Does somebody want to talk about who was there? I was not at
Yes,
DevConnect, so
that was almost the first time where we met for the first time, like as EthStaker, except Superfizz. But next year we will meet for Superfizz as well. So I'm going to be in the US for the first time and see you all guys there. So yeah, that was the highlight of the year for me, yes, actually. The
we're
EthStaker gathering.
Yeah, Dev Connect
uh
was a ton of fun.
It was a blast, yeah. It was a lot of work because like it was I believe one of the first time were actually planning and organizing a main event. And so the staking gathering event was quite a lot of work, but it was very interesting.
Yeah, like EthStaker started during COVID. Like we only had virtual events, and this was like the first physical event, and it's different. Much more work.
There was still a lot of concern about COVID, but we got through.
in general, I think
That
it's also much more work to do something in person because you guys are all hanging out and having fun and drinking and rather
What,
than
me drink?
online.
Never, never, never.
Yeah, I heard you guys are super responsible and teetotalers at Dev Connect.
Absolutely.
Moving on to May, EthStaker and the CLR fund ran a quadratic funding round that raised 440,000 for staking related projects. Do you guys remember any of the specific? I remember Project Sunshine was on there. I don't remember what else.
I remember Beacon Chain being on there.
Yeah, it was a bunch of stuff like that, and yeah, a bunch of different projects.
I
It was
mean, it
good.
was staking focused. I think Vago was one of them. Beacon Chain, obviously. Then Sunshine Project,
I believe
Styrium,
Styrium was there.
and Eve Wizard, maybe.
It was not there. No,
Then Eve Docker, probably.
I can't remember. There was a few UI related projects in there, and a few of the guides. I believe Summer was there too. Summer, you said
Roadkey.
Roadkey, yeah.
So that was also the month that Danny Ryan posted a tweet on Twitter that says Lido passing 1/3 is a centralization attack on proof of stake. We're bad at assessing tail risk, but staking in Lido at these thresholds has a lot of it. In blockchain systems, tail risk isn't even necessarily so far-fetched. Systems tend to hit edge cases, systems tend to get exploited. If a Lido-induced safety, reorg, or censorship attack, the recovery playbook stands slashing or social intervention, goes on to do a thread about the danger of one pool owning or managing so much ETH. And that was the beginning of a large conversation around centralization attack from pools. And we're still having that conversation. We do, when EthStaker makes a point to, when we interview some of the staking protocols to do community calls, we make a point to ask them if they are committed to decentralization in a way that would they would cap their validator set.
I believe
Some have committed.
during this research, I went on Lido's forum and I saw some of this discussion where like there was various actors, including Superfizz, who was asking like, could you guys just self-limit yourself so that you can reduce this risk? And Lido did a vote. I believe they have like some kind of like they have their own governance and
Governance, yeah.
and they refused to self-limit at 98%. So they don't want to self-limit.
It was an overwhelming majority who said absolutely not. Let's not self-limit, which makes sense because once you ask a pool to self-limit, once they're already the majority, it's very real for them. It's really easy to ask Rocket Pool or Stakewise, who are both under I think 2%, to self-limit because they can commit right now, and none of this is binding, but it is easier to commit when you don't have to take action at this moment. Whereas Lido would have had to take action immediately in order to self-limit at the time of that vote.
And if my memory is correct, Lido has a plan for decentralization that includes like using many different operators and a bunch of things. So we'll see how that progress over time.
They have no plans to do like permissionless operations, though, right?
I don't think so. No.
They are currently looking at that.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, using DVT hopefully.
Okay. Well, hopefully the irrational actors are able to handle that. Okay. So in June we had the Rapston merge. That was the first of the merge call series that EthStaker helped organize, and that was a lot of fun. That call, I think it's sandwiched. There were 4 testnet merge, or 3 testnet and 1 mainnet call, and the Rapston call was the first, and the mainnet call was the last. And I think those 2 calls were the most hyped and the most fun. You can go on our YouTube and watch it. We all had a lot of fun. Everybody showed up. I think all of the podcast people, David Hoffman and Sassel and a bunch of the Ethereum researchers were there. Vitalik showed up at some point. All right, so testnets are deprecated in favor of Gurley and Sepolia at that point. We're looking at issues with client pairs, but they are fixed before the merge. July, Sepolia becomes the second official testnet to go through the merge. That was hosted by Sassel, right?
I think so, yeah.
Mainnet or merge call series number 2, hosted by Sassel, probably. A potential merge date is being circulated at this point. Everybody on Twitter is trying to not say a date, but also really wanting to say a date. And I forget, was it Evan Van Ness who was the first person to actually like say a date? I forget who was the first person to say a date.
Probably Justin Drake.
I think you're right. It was Justin Drake. I think Evan Van Ness was like putting out a bunch of dates of people, because most people are scared to say like the wrong date, and I don't think that guy was. But yeah, I think maybe Justin Drake put something out. But as soon as the date was said, everybody glommed onto it real hard because people had been waiting for a date for so long, and no date had come from anybody reputable at that point, because people are pretty good about not putting out a date before it's ready. August, Gurley becomes the third and final testnet to go through the merge upgrade. Merge call series number 3, hosted by Bankless.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep.
A lot of fun. Ready for the mainnet at this point. Merge is announced on mainnet for September. Belitic's upgrade consensus only fork is set to happen on September 6th.
So there was like 2 steps, right? If you guys remember, there was like this first fork on consensus, and then there was the actual merge, which we didn't know when it was going to happen because of like the mining hash rate.
So it was set to happen at a certain terminal total difficulty that everybody had trouble, because it was like 100 numbers long. Not actually. Tornado Cash at that point gets sanctioned by OFAC OFAC in the U.S., and it is awful timing because it kickstarts a conversation about censorship resistance, and people get confused. They think that this is a conversation that happens. That basically it's a problem that was kickstarted by the merge, which those things had nothing to do with each other. They just happened to happen around the same time. Bounties at that point are increased up to $1 million. So if you found a bug in Ethereum right before the merge, you could claim $1 million. Successfully carried out on September 15th. It was a lot of fun. EthStaker got a cabin. We all sat there and hosted this call, and a lot of people showed up. We had like 300,000 concurrent views. It happened at 3 a.m, where I was, 2 a.m. It was really late. I didn't end up going to bed till like 7 because I was so hyped. It was a ton of fun. We got some news coverage. People relate it to changing the engine on a car while it's on the highway. It's a resounding success. It happens, and sort of we're waiting an hour or so, or we're planning on waiting for an hour or so for any issues that are happening. No issues happen. It almost seems too easy. Everybody is so prepared for it. MEV Boost version 1.00 is released. Public checkpoint sync endpoints are starting to appear with the Checkpoints project launch. In October, we had DevCon. It was the first DevCon since 2019 because of COVID. There was some initial hesitation about Bogota as a location for DevCon, but everybody was super stoked leaving DevCon because it just went incredibly well.
You were there, Nix, right?
I was there, yeah.
How was it?
It was so much fun. It was well organized. I have never been to a conference that felt so well organized in my previous industry or in this industry. There was always coffee. There was always food. There was room for everyone. The only thing that people had to complain about was the Wi-Fi sucked. But
not only the Wi-Fi, but like the mobile data was also just buckling under the load of a bunch of nerds claiming POAPs.
Yeah, that's the reason it sucked, because you would walk up to, so ENS had these IYK cards that they had produced and given away on the spot with people's ENS avatars, and everybody wanted everybody else's POAP because everybody had a POAP all of a sudden. I think like half of my POAPs are from DevCon. And you would walk up to somebody, try to get their POAP, and the internet wouldn't work, and you'd be like, no, stay here, I need your POAP. So it was great. The Wi-Fi sucked, but the Ethereum Foundation also did this thing that made the vibe of DevCon feel amazing. And what they did is they ran these booths at the front that they contacted high impact projects and said, hey, we don't want the people to just buy booths in these really prominent locations. We want them to go to projects that are high impact and that have a good impact on the ecosystem. And so EthStaker got a booth. There was a bunch of client teams at that little area, and then there were regular booths upstairs that were sponsored booths. But it just ended up making it feel so builder centric. Everybody there like felt like they really cared about the beacon chain and the progress of Ethereum and what blockchain was going to do for the world. There was no price talk. There was I don't think there was a single talk on price. Maybe like ultrasound money, but yeah, it was very good vibes. I was very stoked walking away from that. I'm not sure that any blockchain conference can top that, but hopefully East Denver goes that well. The Ethereum Protocol Fellowship's third cohort kicks off. I think that's I added that on here because I think that that's a really cool incubator for anybody who wants to work on staking related projects, because there are so many people right now who want to go from Web 2 to Web 3 or become a developer. And the Ethereum Protocol Fellowship is a mainline to the researchers in the ecosystem, and that is insane that's just sitting there. The fellowship, they give you a stipend. They give a small number of people a stipend, but anybody who doesn't get chosen to receive that stipend can still attend all of those office hours and still get mentored. And so it's a permissionless program that you can enter and work on staking related projects or whatever you want to work on. November, Ropsten is shut down after having been deprecated. The EthStaker knowledge base is launched, largely thanks to Iridian here on this call. And in December, we have the Merge Data Challenge results published. Have you guys gone through the Merge Data Challenge results? Do you guys have anything to say about those?
I saw the two winners. Like, I believe there were two winners. The results were interesting. It's a lot of data analysis. It's a lot of data. So if you want to go through and check it out, maybe you're into these kind of things. I'm not really into those. So I just want to come back to the knowledge base. Like, Iridian did an amazing job with the knowledge base. If you guys haven't seen it, go and check it out. It's on Gitbook. It has like some of the best like aggregation of all the knowledge that we have for staking right now, I believe, and we intend to make it even better in the future.
Yeah, I'm really stoked.
It's an open source project, so if anyone has any contributions or wants to contribute at all, then please get involved. We've also got Git perhaps for any contributions as well, so you'll be rewarded with those if you help at all.
Yeah, I'm really stoked because one of the limitations about EthStaker right now is that we largely run on Discord and Reddit, and both of those have notoriously bad search functions. And so it is difficult to find information that's already been put out there. And so EthStaker knowledge base kind of takes things that have been asked a million times, that are recurring problems, are known things. It takes the guides. It walks you through all of that in a very organized, searchable way. I'm really stoked about it. I think it's absolutely what EthStaker has been missing. So another thing that we wanted to talk about was the community members who sort of make a knowledge base like this possible by helping people troubleshoot, by answering questions in the Discord. We have a lot of people who are really active, and I'm not super active in the Discord, and by super, I mean not at all. For some reason, I have taken on the subreddit as a main location, and so maybe Remy, Buddha, Nolan, you guys could talk about the Discord participants a little bit.
Sure, we have a lot of great contributors to our Discord. And I just want to go through some of the most prolific people who participated in helping us with like support and the questions and everything. I believe the first one, like when I did some data analysis of like how many messages and answers people were giving out, was Yorick, who's not here. Yorick is like answering on average like 40 questions every day. Like that's like every day of the year on Discord. So he's like the main propeller of all the support that is being done by EthStaker. But if we go through all the other people, we have Sonic, we have a Pai Chiphook, we have Adrian Sutton from Teku, we have DV8S, we have Barnabas, we have Men in a Crypto Suit, we have Jim from Teston, who's well known, but he's also like just helping regular people. We have Tennis Ball, we have Michael Sprawl from Lighthouse, we have Strawberry Darling, we have Chungji, hopefully I pronounced that one right. We have Sea Monkey, we have Summer Isat, who's like, in addition to like doing great guides, he's also doing supports as well. We have Metanol, and we also have like Iridian, who's been very helpful on Discord too. So those are the main guys that are helping a lot on Discord. Many of them are also helping a lot on the EthStaker subreddit. But we also have like people that are not into Discord, and so the main guy who's doing a lot of support on the EthStaker subreddit, who's not really into Discord, is SBDW0C.
Yeah, who knows how to pronounce that?
How do you pronounce that? Who knows? But he's like helping a lot there too. So I just want to thank all of these guys. These guys are amazing. They are the reason why, especially home solo staking is possible, and that people can actually resolve their issues at home.
Yeah, I think you also missed Austin and Kudeta,
Yeah.
who are active on the subreddit. I think Kudeta is probably also active in the Discord. Yeah, so in sort of recognition of all of these folks, we contacted all of them. Remy did the legwork of contacting all of them and did the legwork of putting this list together. And we sent them a little bit of ETH to be able to, or we are sending them a little bit of ETH. No one are sending.
I haven't sent
them a little bit.
Maybe Superfizz did.
All right, so we've offered a little bit of ETH to all of them in order to get them closer to their next validator, because they are extremely valuable for this, and the community would not exist without these people who come in and spend their valuable time. And even like anybody, some of these people on this list work in the industry, but the things that they're answering and the time that they spend in the Discord is not necessarily like part of their job responsibilities, and so they do spend a lot of personal time in there making sure that people can figure out how to stake, people don't drop off when something goes wrong with their setup, and that they figure out how to get them back online when their validator is having issues.
Awesome. I believe that's all we had for this video. Thank you, Nix, for leading this. We will end with a POAP. We have a POAP for this call. So if you want to get the POAP, we will post the link on YouTube in the chat here. I believe you'll have to send the equivalent of 2 USD to get this POAP with this new POAP checkout. So check it out and make sure to get a POAP. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for having this call. We will see you in a few minutes. We have another community call with SSV.network. So hopefully we'll see you all guys there. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye guys.